Again with another video. In the last video, we discussed about population composition, population distribution, and before that, we discussed population growth. And in this video, we are going to study this new topic, which is population composition. Now, first let's know that what is this population composition. Now, the population composition is a description of a population based on some criteria. Like we're describing the population that in this population, these many people are of this age. If we take the age as a criteria, so let's see description of population based on some characteristic. Now, these characteristic can be anything. Like they can be age, sex, rural or urban place, religion, race or ethnicity, language, literacy rate. So, like we can describe a population that how many people in this population are between the age 15 to 16, 65 or more than 65. So you can describe a population on based or on some criterias. Though there can be any criteria, there can be any criteria like age, sex, rural, urban. But somehow all of these can be predicted using age, sex, and occupation structure. I mean, if we only take three criteria, that is age, sex, and occupation, we can determine other things. Like we can suppose we know that the occupation is engineering, so we can know that urban have the more engineers. So the we can determine that the population is of urban. Similarly, we can determine of rural, and also we can determine literacy rate with the type of the occupation they are doing. And like this, a lot of other things can be determined. So only age and sex, occupation structure is enough. That is uh, that is said by some people. That is the opinion of some people. Now, according to Trivarta cited R.C. Chandra, population composition is explained as age, sex, structure of population characteristics. Now, according to these two persons, the population composition only means age and sex structure. That the description of population based on the age and sex is enough to call it a population composition. So that was all about the population composition. Now so we will in this video discuss these two, age and sex structure. So now let's move on. So first let's see the age. Now on the basis of age we describe population. We actually divide it into three kinds, which are the young, the population below the age of 15 comes under this young. They are known as the young population, and the population between 15 and 65 is adult, and more than 65 is old. So you see the main working population is this adult between 15 to 65, and other two that is young and the old one. The both are the burdens. I won't say burdens, but they are the non-working types who are dependent upon the adult population for their survival, for their day-to-day life, for their income, for their food and other things. So now let's look at the data one by one of the world. There are 26%. Now this data is the percentage share. 26% of the population in the world is young, and 64 is the adult, and 10% is the old. Now, if we look continent-wise, each continent have different data. Like in Africa, the 40%. The Africa is the youngest. You see, they have the most population of the age below 15, of the people aging below 15, and their adult population is 56, and they're the least population of old. Now, So it is said that in the future, the time is going to be of Africa, as they will have the maximum working population share in the whole world. And in Asia, it is 23, and the working population is 68, and the old population is 9. Now, similarly, in South America, the young is 23 and 68 is the adult one, and the 9 is the old. Now, let's similarly the data is given of the other. Now, if we talk about the India, in India, 26% people are below the young, and 67% of population are between 15 to 65. So India currently have a great working population, and India have the chance, if it can utilize this potential, this working population, it can do wonder. And the old population of the India is 7%. So this is the composition of Indian, and this is according to 2021 data. If we look at the 2011 census of India, the 34% was the share of young population, and 61% was of the adult. So the you can say the young population have decreased, and the adult one have increased, and also the old one is also increasing. So you see, in the future, it is seen that the old share of the old population share of India will increase, due to which the burden will rise on the adult population. So this is predicted. Now we talked about this. Now let's see. This is the age sex pyramid of the Japan. In Japan, Japan have the adult very old population, so you can see that their median age is 48.4 years. That is a lot. I mean, around 50 years the median age. And you can see from here that between, like, more than 40, let's say more than 45, these people are between 45 to 90. this many this many people are between, and this is the male part, and this is the male part. Now in the female also, these many are between the 45. So these are 40, between the 45 and 90. So you can see the portion of this data, the portion of this population that is aged above 45. See, you can see that the Japan have more older population. Now let's look at the age sex pyramid of India. So in India, first of all, the median age of India is 28.4. You can see almost 20 years below the Japanese. So, and you can say India have a more younger population, if in comparison to the older population. That's why it is said that India currently have a potential, a lot of working population. So we talked about the age. Now let's look at this sex composition. Sex ratio. How, first of all, let's see how we determine it. So the sex ratio is determined by this formula, that is male upon female into 100. Or in some countries, female upon male is also used. Female upon male into 100. So this is the formula to reduce this sex ratio. So let's look at the data. Of the world sex ratio is 1993, and of Asia 961, Africa, North America, and Europe. These three countries, these Africa, North America, and Europe. These three countries have male than the males. And you know what we can determine from this sex ratio? We can reduce the conditions of the female in that state, or in that country, in that part. But that also doesn't mean that where the sex ratio is good, and then there is a good condition of females. It's not like that. But in the lesser sex ratio, the conditions of the women are not that much appreciable. Similarly, of the Oceania, the sex ratio is 983. The sex ratio means that 983 females per thousand male. That what it means by the sex ratio. Now, if we look of some countries, so in UAE, 100 female per 300 males, you can say 300 male, 100 females are for 300 males. But there are also other reasons for it. Like it's not the real situation there. Like there is the migration and other factors due to which this data is so contrasting, so different. In Qatar also 100 female per 220. In South Africa 100 female per 200 male. In Oman and in Egypt also. So these countries are where the ratio of the female is less. Now we look at the the sex ratio in India. So for we will compare 2001 census and 2011 census. So in 2001, the sex ratio in India was 933, whereas the sex ratio in India was 943. So you can say the condition of the females have bettered since then, and the child sex ratio have reduced. Now, child sex ratio means at the birth, how many females are born and how many males are born. You see, but now the question is how we. So that's not in our hand, but yes, it is like with technology. Now people predetermine that whether whether it's the boy who is going to born or whether it's girl. So they drop when it's girl. So things like that. Or in the Rajasthan, in Rajasthan, the girls are dropped. The boys are more preferred as a child to be born. So if we look at a few countries like Kerala have the highest number of females per thousand males, that is 1,084, and they have increased their number. They've increased their number from 2001 census. Now, if we take Madhya Pradesh is in the bottom. So Madhya Pradesh have 931 sex ratio, which have increased from the 919 in 2001. In Assam also there is 958 and 935, which have improved from 935 in 2001. We can say from this comparison we can say that the condition of females is improving. Their life is bettering, and these are the rest remaining. These are the remaining states. So let's see the Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh has 912 females. So this is the sex ratio of Uttar Pradesh, and which have improved from 898 in 2001, and above above it is the sex ratio of Bihar, which is 918, and it have actually decreased from the 2001 census, which was 919, and also the child sex ratio have decreased of both Bihar and Uttar Pradesh too. If we talk about Haryana have the 879 sex ratio. The least sex ratio of a state is of Haryana, and of a union territory it is Daman and Dui, which have Daman and Diu, which have 618 sex ratio, much lesser, and it have quite decreased from the 2001 census, which in 2001 the sex ratio of Daman and Diu was 710, and in 2011 it is 618. So it have decreased quite a bit. So we have looked at the sex composition and the age composition of a population. We looked at the data of world and India also. So with this, this topic comes to end. We will meet in next video. Thank you and have a wonderful day ahead.